Hello and welcome. My name is Shira Cohen and I'm the host of this podcast and the author of a book called Reclaiming Our Wellbeing. I'm a yoga teacher, yoga therapist, Ayurvedic wellness educator and emotional coach. So this is a space of sharing stories that uplift, encourage and transform. So enjoy. So hello everyone, I'm back. I skipped a week because it was really busy the last 2 weeks and I had a great time. So I just wanted to say, the last weekend, not this weekend, the weekend before, I did a walk with the therapy group for the Raja clinic where I'm working, and it was Carpe Diem. So pick the day, pluck the day. And it was all about picking herbs. So I did a round with a group of 8 people around the clinic. There's a park, and I had a walk around for the week before, building up to that. And I made a PDF to look at all the herbs that I saw on the way. So I found about 12 different herbs and flowers, plants basically that have properties. And this is the amazing thing about nature. It's always, again and again, it blows my mind every time because it's so incredible. I know this from Ayurveda, I know this from theory, I've read it from what's the name, Melly Eldert and other old herbalists from different centuries, that the plants that you need grow around you is one theory. Another theory is that the plants of each season are the ones that you need, so whatever's growing in that season. So I went according to that. What we found in that area is important at this time. And so the funny thing is, when I was 14, I don't know if I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again. When I was 14, I had decided I was not going to go to doctors anymore and definitely not take their drugs. Maybe I would go only for diagnosis, but then I would cure it myself, because I went to a doctor many times. I'd started smoking when I was 12, and every month, every 6 weeks, I had tonsillitis, and it just got worse and worse. And every time I went to a doctor, I got my own doctor because I didn't want to go to the family doctor because he might tell my parents. So I went and found my own doctor, and he just gave me antibiotics each time. And after about a year, I had noticed the pattern that it was after a few different kinds of antibiotics, I would repeat the cycle, but stronger doses. So I approached him when I was 14. I said, I don't want to take these antibiotics anymore. I want something else. And he said, the only thing we do is remove tonsils. So I said, I want that. And he said, well, that's dangerous at your age. And then he gave me another prescription, which I scrunched up in front of him and threw in his wastebasket as I walked out, just to prove, like, there's no way I'm doing this again. So I went home, and my mum had this herbal Bible, it was called. It was a big fat book of about 500 pages, and it had all the different vitamins and what they all did. And then it also had all the different ailments, diseases, imbalances of health, and which vitamins you need. So I wouldn't just take multivitamins. I would go and do exactly what it said. So for tonsillitis, I had to take extra vitamin B complex, C, D, E, magnesium, calcium. I can't remember all the rest, but it was a big bunch. So I had to spend a lot of money to get these supplements and get the right dosage. And I would follow that. And then I started studying herbs and using herbs as well. So I just knew about 10 different herbs. But then I got more and more into it, and I actually started learning that was enough. Food, diet. Oh yes, my dad went to a naturopath, so we started using food as our medicine as well. So that was really important to me. And I basically didn't go to doctors until I got really ill when I was 28 in South America. I got parasites and I didn't know it. I went blind for a day and lost 5 kilos in 2 days. I didn't know what it was. They didn't find anything at the time. I ended up taking that parasite back to Europe, walking around with it for 8 years, and then by then I was really in a bad state. Like first I got healthy again, and then just gradually progressed. And that's when I went to get a diagnosis. And even though I'd been to internists and even an Ayurvedic specialist and blah 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 blah, in the end it didn't help. And it was through Ayurveda and a holistic doctor that I helped myself. So for me, I've always used herbs. Even on my daughter, she's never gone to a doctor, only for diagnosis again when I really can't tell what it is. I do it all myself. And so I had written all this down that I'm going to tell you about now. I'm not going to read it out, there's way too much. But I'd written this down when I was about 21. I'd made like a huge PDF of all the plants I knew that I could, recognize, and I knew how to prepare, which parts to prepare, and what their actions were. So I knew all this. I'd written it all down. I'd looked on the internet. By that time we already had internet, so I found some really amazing sites which have been taken down, because when people know herbs, we don't need doctors, we don't need medical pharma, because the pharmacopoeia that is around us has everything we need. So this was the amazing thing. I'd already written this PDF more than 20 years ago. And then to prepare for this little book, I looked at all the herbs that were growing. And as I was writing them down, I was just amazed that they were all having the same kind of effect, like staunching blood, astringency for the urinary and genital systems. They were diuretics, so cleansing the urinary system, and they're vulneraries, so that's good for our nerves and the skin. They're astringent, which contracts everything. They nourish our nerves, our skin, bones, the pituitary gland, and all the endocrine glands. Demulcents, which soothe and soften our mucous membranes. Anti-inflammatories, because we've eaten heavy diet the whole winter, and so in the spring we need these cleansing bitters, which clean the blood as well. So all our systems are preventing allergies, inflammation, irritation of skin and membranes within the body. All the cells basically get cleansed. It's good for the digestive tract, the lungs. There's demulcents. It's also good for the lungs. Expectorants, emollients. So all these things, they were just growing in the park. And this is just a park that people walk past. So this group of people, they never really go out much into the nature. And if they do, they have no clue what plants were there. So, like I said, I know more than 100 herbs that I can identify just like that. And I'd only written down 10 for these people to make it not too confusing. And they were amazed. Like everyone was walking around going, their mouths were just open. And it's so lovely to see. And when we finished, we went back and we'd collected elderflowers. So elderflowers are in season right now. That you have the bark you can use. So we call elder plant a medical chest for the people. It's a tree of deep sleep, musical flutes from the hollow branches, a chest of medicine in itself. The leaves are used for sprains, bruises, chilblains, and even ointment for tumors. The flowers treat colds, flus, upper respiratory infections, tonsillitis, laryngitis, aches, malaise, chills, fever, restlessness. By stimulating the circulation, it causes sweating, cleansing the body's cells via the skin pores, eliminating toxins, resolving infections, even chickenpox and measles. The relaxant effect relieves bronchospasms, soothes nervous anxiety, lifts depression, relieves gout, arthritis, and rheuma. I mean, I haven't even finished, and that's only just one plant. Hot infusion at night induces deep sleep for restless children and adults. Aids ear infections, thrush, hay fever, allergies, sinusitis, catarrhal inflammation, and deafness. The berries can be used to make a wine having similar properties as the flowers, with additional use for reuma, discharging phlegm from bronchial passages. The bark induces sleep, but used sparingly. It's narcotic. So you can use all the plant. And just the actions of elderflower bark is purgative, which means it helps you to vomit and to cleanse the slime from the digestive system and lungs. Emetic, diuretic, leaves externally emollient and vulnerary, internally purgative, expectorant, diuretic, diaphoretic. So diaphoretic is it opens up the pores so you can sweat better. Flowers, diaphoretic, anticatarrhal, pictorial. Pictorial means slime removing from the lungs and throat. So berries, diuretic, diaphoretic, laxative. So we all know what laxative is. So yeah, this is just one plant. Amazing, no? So we collected like about 50, 60 flower heads. And then we went back to the clinic, used the kitchen there and made a syrup. And then we let that to stand. So you can use 20 flower heads, they usually say, but the more you use, the better, the more that flavor of the flowers, which is really refreshing. And then you use 4 to 5 lemons, the rind or the zest from the lemons, from all of those lemons, plus citric acid. So the acid from lemons, because it keeps it longer. Otherwise it'll go off within a few weeks max, whereas then you can keep it a few months or more. And yeah, we had an amazing time. And when we were back at the clinic, everyone was saying, wow, I didn't know. Next time I'm going to walk, I'm going to be so appreciative and looking for different plants and actually recognizing things. So there was cleavers, plantain, elderflower, comfrey, stinging nettle, mallow, red clover. There's angel wort, bramble, what else? Horsetail. So this was all just growing around the corner. Yarrow, which is amazing for many things too. It's hypertensive, antiseptic, anticatarrhal, amenagogue, hepatic, so that's for the liver, a stimulant and a tonic, and you just find it everywhere. So the funny thing was, already before we'd even started walking, I saw an elderflower plant, so we walked straight over to it. And then one of the guys picked another flower from the other side of the pathway, and he said, is this one too? And I said, no, where did you pick it from? And he showed me, and I said, well, first you look at the leaves. So that's one of the best ways to compare flowers if you can't see the difference between different white flower bunches or any flowers. Look at the leaves, and then look at the stem, and look at even you can break it open, and if it bleeds in a different way, you can also know that it's a totally different plant. So yeah, plants are amazing. Go out there, get to know your plants, make yourself even more resilient and resistant to life's changes. So I studied plants from the age of 14 till 25, and then I kind of gave up because I bought a book about Ayurvedic plants, and then you have to totally let go of that naturopathic kind of mentality and switch over to this understanding of the doshic qualities and the what's it called, you have these qualities after you digest them, and they have different qualities on your body. So the whole relationship dynamics of Ayurveda is more important with the plant thing. So I kind of dropped this whole thing, forgot about it, and now I'm learning about it again, and it's like, wow, it's so beautiful. So yeah, enjoy and have a wonderful time, and plant and pick, and let the nature feed you. Let yourself be educated by nature. So plants teach you so many things. When I was living in the south of France and I was the herb lady there, I would notice that planting plants in one place, they would actually wander to other places when the soil wasn't right for them. So the seeds would spread until they got to the place they wanted to live in. They would actually move beds and even fields because that's what they needed. And one year you have a whole load of calendula flowers, and the next year you don't have nearly any, and it's mainly mint, because that's what's needed according to the plants already know, the earth knows what kind of season and even climate is coming in the next year or so. So they adapt beforehand because it's constantly in a relationship, and they've been having that relationship for 5 billion years. So I think they kind of know what's going on, whereas we don't. We're just little children who are here for 100 years, 150 max, and then we move on. So thank your plants. Let food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. From Hippocratic. Everyone have a wonderful week. Next week and the week after we'll have some guests. So I'm really looking forward to that. Enjoy your time. Bye-bye.